up?
Welcome back to another episode of the Bownerds podcast. Guys, we are so thrilled to have a super good friend and big mentor to both Jared and I for many, many years on today's podcast. I think we're going to have a killer conversation with old Preston Ward, owner, operator, physical therapist of Mtn Physio. So when you are broken, Preston's your man. I take that back. Before you're broken, go to Preston. So you're not broken, so you don't have to go to Preston.
This is true.
Yes. There is a big difference between taking care of yourself versus fixing yourself.
Exactly.
So
yeah, arguably taking care of yourself is a lot cheaper than fixing yourself.
This is true.
Yeah, so Preston, tell us a little bit real quick about what you do and who you are with Mtn Physio and all that stuff. That you get a little plug in there real quick.
Sweet, I appreciate it. No, thanks both of you guys, and that was very kind to say that I was a mentor. I feel like, yeah, that's a very, very kind compliment. So I appreciate that. But
fully meant it.
I don't know if I don't know if I've really done that much, but I like to hope I have. But yeah, so I'm a physical therapist. Let's see, have had Mtn Physio now for going on 7 years, probably some of the 7 hardest years of my life. And I'm starting to realize that there's so much more to growing the business and everything, but really focused, or I should say started with working or doing physical therapy specifically for hunters and outdoorsmen, a lot of archers. Got in the game with the U.S. archery team, did a lot of traveling with them. So that was really cool. Did a lot of stuff with like para hunters, para archers. And then most recently doing a lot of stuff the last couple of years with within the industry as well, or industrial companies, corporate companies. And so really kind of seeing this evolution of Mtn Physio. But yeah, grew up here in Utah. Hunted my whole life, been in the outdoors my whole life, love just going and hiking the hills and being in the mountains, and married, have a child, and we spend a lot of time at dance recitals and a lot of time at different things like that right now. I have a deer tag right now that I should go out on, but I don't know. There's Christmas and family stuff right now that it's kind of hard to get out this time of year. That's a little bit about me.
That's good, dude. Do you do? Sorry, I'm just trying to change the thing on my mic. You said you brought up like company stuff. So would you go to like a company and train or help employees? So I don't know, example, Easton there in Utah, like go into Easton and help train and have these employees understand almost like a big benefit that the company's giving to the employees.
Yeah, right now within we call it the health and wellness industry, I guess I'd say, over the next like 20 or 10 years, it's projected to grow by like $120 billion or something. Like it's a huge, like, and if you look at most companies right now, they're really trying to add value to their employees. It's expensive for companies to hire new employees. It's expensive for a company to have an injury. Any injury, there's really good data on this, is about cost a company about $41,000 on average. And so it really works with a lot of different companies. So I'm really excited where we're taking this, working with fire departments, hopefully working with a lot of people who are pushing themselves. And I like to think about it as like this performance offer, more than just wellness. A lot of companies have wellness and they've done it and it seems like they dabble in it for a year or two and then they get out of it. And so more than just like offering, hey, let me come in and do some massage, it's let me work with your HR and your safety teams to really be a valuable asset. Let our team be a valuable asset to you guys to reduce costs, reduce injury, improve productivity, and improve performance. And we take that same model that we do that with archers and hunters and athletes, but now to the corporate side of things. So I'm excited where it's going. We've done it with a handful of companies over the last few years, and it's received like extremely well. And companies, like, we see big numbers when we save them money. And I think that's like, I guess I'm kind of rambling right now, but that's an exciting thing for me as like an owner of a business and building something. Like I really love, I love helping people and I love helping athletes as much. But I also love that aspect of like helping a legitimate, like a big brand save a lot of money. And we would say like a lot of money, like saving millions of dollars to put back into their companies. Just a really fun, rewarding venture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
because
that's really cool.
they save on insurance costs typically, right? And they save on what, like you said, the injuries, because then they got to pay people overtime to cover shifts and all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. So they save quite a bit. Is
And
that
not only
what?
that, sorry, I was gonna say not only that, what's really exciting to me is I always say, like I've said it for years now, like the greatest investment is the investment you make in your health. And I'm trying to like, I think what's so frustrating at times running a business and owning a business is like feeling like I have to be on a soapbox all the time to be like this could really save you guys a lot of money. But I think at the end of the day, it's showing companies um, that health is a lot more than just like, or an employee is a lot means an employee means a lot more than just a number and productivity numbers. A company should really invest in their employees so that they have a better work-life balance, so that there's none of that burnout. I've been in positions working, before I had Mountain Physio, where I just got burned out because you're
Mhm.
just doing too much. And I think we've probably all been in those situations where
Hmm.
you get this burnout, and then you get like, I hope we kind of get into this on this podcast of like mental health, like depressed feelings because you're so burned out and so stressed out because of life and trying to take care of a family that it's like, and so when you have someone like us that can go in and really make a meaningful difference so that they can go to work and perform, but then also feel good so they can go home and spend time with their family throwing the baseball and they're not in pain, like that's a really awesome thing that I'd love to see happen. So
Yeah, and it's really hard to get people to see it until they see it. If that makes sense.
yeah.
it's it's yeah.
Yeah, you're
So
not thinking about it until you're in pain. For a lot of people, it's like, oh, I'm fine, I'm healthy, like I go to the gym or whatever. Like injuries do happen, and I mean, a lot of like blue collar stuff, like dudes are doing way too much hard labor. They're not taking care of their body. They're eating gas station food. I might be talking about my life, but they're, like it's so much work on the body, and then you get home and you just completely beat. I mean, the
Yeah.
sun does it, just the labor. And so being able to take care of your body would be such a big asset, especially in a corporate world where the business is offering that benefit, and having you come on board and teach them, like, 'cause you don't know what
Yep.
you don't know. Like I couldn't tell you the first thing about physical therapy, even though I've been through it like 3 times for my knee, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've done some of the Mountain Physio stuff. Yes, could be 1010% better. Um, and I have the benefit of knowing you and knowing Jared. And if something's wrong, I'll call Jared. Hey, dude, my hamstring's real tight. What do I, what do I do? That's my number one thing. And maybe I'll just bring this up. Like my whole life, I've always had not quite a hunchback, but like my lower back curves in really deep. And a lot of it stemmed from, I have a barrel chest. And as a kid, I always got made fun of because like my chest would pop out further than anyone else. So I would roll my shoulders forward and hide it so it didn't look like I had a normal flat chest. And it made it so now my back, the lower back, super curved and then goes back up. So that is one thing I 100% need to pick your brain on and do better. I'm sure you've
Yeah.
got things and ways and exercises and stretches that you already probably have it right on top of your head.
Yeah. We could go through all that. No, we could definitely go through all that. But no, and I want to say like what's been fun as so Jared is on our team as well. And I think that like a plug in for Jared, he knows his stuff. We have a kind of a similar mindset, I'd say, as like injury prevention and restorative functional exercise. And so having what's really been interesting as like a owning a business, there's so much stress and so much responsibility for like it's stressful because it comes down to me of like making money so that I can pay for my family and stuff like that to eat at the end of the day. Um, but realizing that I can't do it all by myself. And so having Jared part of our team has been such a huge asset. And then we have another therapist, Eric, who like literally have both saved my life because they take some of the load, and it just is like, from a business perspective, I'm like, oh, I can take a deep breath because I'm like, we have something that's growing, and it's such a good cause that, anyways. So shout out to Jared, he's helped me, Eric as well, like, and there's just been it's a good feeling to say like we're growing something that means a lot and it improves a lot of people's lives. And so from a performance perspective, like you were saying, everyone could benefit from Mountain Physio. We have a lot of offerings. I'm going to kind of give a plug right now that we have a ton of offerings. We have a ton of new programs. We have a whole new, procedure and process for working with us. When you work with us, you don't work with just one of us now, you work with all of us, which I'm really excited about, because in the hunting space, there's a lot of, I'm going to say, exercise programs. You got, your different apps and stuff like that. And there's a lot of them. In a sense, I feel like they're all very similar. And what we really pride ourselves on is, and even we have an app, Mountain Physio 365, which is a great app. Jared does a lot of programming in it. But at the end of the day, a custom program where you go through an evaluation with doctors of physical therapy, you then get the custom programming that Jared can do, and he's so good at it. And then you work and follow up with Eric and myself and Jared, like have a team approach with each individual. I think personally within the hunting space, it's going to be well received because people want results. They want to go into a hunt knowing 100% that they're ready. And I think the same thing goes with work as well. You want to be able to have your employees, or you want to know that your employees are going into work 100% ready and not going to step off a ladder and, hurt their leg or catch a bucket that's falling and tear their rotator cuff because they're not putting in the work. So
yeah, no, it's true. It's actually, I have a couple guys I work with that a little bit on the larger side, and one of them, he's pretty young. He's like 25 maybe. And I mean, he's pretty open about his stuff. He's like 315, 320 pounds. Dude works his butt off. I mean, works. But I was like, imagine if you lost half that, how you would feel. So like I've helped him. Obviously, I'm not a personal trainer or anything, but I like encourage him going to the gym. I give him a bunch of free Mountain Ops products and stuff. So he's pounding Yeti and Ignite every day and Hydrate. He's like, dude, this stuff's insane. This is great. And he's lost, I think, 20 pounds. He goes and does stair stepper and stuff. And it's like his productivity would increase, even though he's already working super, super hard. His productivity, if he's not lugging around 300 pounds, like I'm lugging around 150 pounds soaking wet, and like I'm tired. I'm like, imagine how that dude's knees and ankles are feeling. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people would benefit just having, like you said, the program situated exactly to what your needs are. Like for me, I don't need to lose weight. I need to gain weight and maybe mobility in shoulders. Not maybe. Jared knows I'm stiff as a freaking brick. My biggest thing is my hamstrings. And it comes down to, I blew out my knee a couple times, and they took a hamstring out of both legs from the different surgeries to replace my ACL. And I just always like did not stretch, didn't do hamstring exercises and stuff. It is tight. I can touch my toes. So that's a good start, right? But
that's a great start.
Yeah.
But like someone like me, like you guys, you're on a different level, but like someone like me, I know nothing. I can work out, I can whatever. So like having you guys in my corner is a huge benefit. And I think a lot of people would benefit just, being not stay at home, a working dad to, take care of themselves, to be able to take care of their family and feel better. And a lot of people's, time is limited, and it's hard to make that plan. But if you have somebody in your corner making the plan for you, understanding your needs, I think is a huge asset.
Yeah. I had a cool experience with a patient called me today, and he had gone to a chiropractor. He had then started, and it was good actually. The chiropractor is a good friend of mine. We refer a lot of patients back and forth to each other, and he was like, "Go see Dr. Ward. He'll help you with the program." Anyways, before he did, he went to and did some other like online program and stuff. And ultimately, he's like, I pushed myself way too hard. Ended up getting injured. He's like, I want to take a step back. And I think so many times we see that. We even see that in like I see that a lot in the hunting space.
Mm-hmm.
Is that who this audience mostly is? Is bow nerds?
Yep.
Yeah, for now.
Hunting space. But anyways, we see a ton of that in the hunting space where they go and do different programs and they push themselves so hard. And I hear it at least 20, 30 times a year. People push themselves hard in some of these other programs, and there's nothing wrong with it. Like they're good programs and there's good exercises out there, but it's really kind of dialing it in and titrating it to the individual and customizing it. And that's what I am so excited to do. What we've been doing with Jared is really build sustainable programs. Like you want a program that you can sustain, because consistency at the end of the day is ultimately how you have more success. If you're getting injured because you're
Absolutely.
like this gentleman, he's getting injured, then he isn't feeling good, and then he puts on weight and all sorts of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going in reverse. So if we can really kind of titrate that and customize it, and that's why I'm really excited where we're going to this performance kind of season training where we're really focusing on like outcomes and performance versus, hey, just here's a workout plan sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of the problem is, especially I'll just specifically speak with men because we're too alpha for our own good.
Yeah.
And like in our age range and everything, especially with certain apps that just lay these programs out, everyone tries to do what they used to be able to could do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Used to be able to could.
Used to be able to could.
So they're pushing themselves way too hard. They're like, oh, I used to be able to do this much weight. I used to be able to go this hard. And sure, you might be able to do it for a week or two, but I guarantee your recovery, your nutrition, your mobility, none of that stuff is keeping up with what you're trying to do. So that's why these people are getting injured. And then being alpha, you're like, oh, this twinge is, yeah, I'll work through it. And then you're just going backwards. Like you said, so consistency, you're going like this. This is a consistency. You're going hard first and you get hurt, you're going like this.
Yeah,
So,
you go backwards now.
Yeah. At least that's what I feel like I've noticed.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And that's what I think is one of the most frustrating things is within this industry, you have a lot of alpha individuals who are like, oh, I'll get better. And then they don't get better. Or, I mean, it's like I go to these hunt expos, hopefully everyone listening to this, like we have something, we have a program, we have our training, we have, evaluations, whatever it is, we really could benefit, like we really could help every single person. And so it's frustrating when sometimes I feel like I'm on this soapbox and I'm like, guys, listen, like do some exercises. Right now we have a exercise challenge going on, I guess, for the month of December. It's actually a really fun one. It's a Christmas Advent where basically every day you add one exercise to the previous exercises. So by day 31, there'll be 31 exercises to do. And it's actually been really fun. Like people have really been,
into a doozy of a workout.
It's good. But if you think about it, like, yes, it'll be turned into a doozy of a workout. But if you did 4 sets of 10, call that 4 exercises, and did 6, what are we at? 20? So that's kind of what it ends up being roughly, even though I started out with a lot of squats, 50 squats. But at the end of the day, like,
it's all right.
Push people hard and it should be good for them. But anyways, there's stuff like that I'm just like, sometimes I feel like I'm on a soapbox. Like, come on, guys, listen, do your exercises. Let's get some prehab in. Let's get an evaluation, assessments. I was talking to another client today back in Minnesota, and we were talking about like this performance evaluation. And he's like, I want to draw my bow back better. I want to be able to, I want to draw my bow back better. I want to have good form. So can you help me with that? I'm like, that is exactly what we do. Like that
Yeah.
type of assessment and evaluation is exactly what we do 100%, where we really dive into why you're drawing this way, the weakness, the strengths, how to drop properly, how to drop correctly so you don't injure yourself, so that you can really continue to do this for life. I actually had another, sorry, I'm rambling right now as well,
No, it's
but
good.
had another
No,
thought.
you're
Another
good.
thought. I saw this thing on Instagram, um, and I commented because it was like a picture of the Quakies up in the mountains, and it said something to the fact of like, my biggest fear is realizing one day I'll never get to be able to do this again. And I just commented like, I feel like, to put a plug in, like, not if I have anything to do with it. And I don't really know, sometimes you get some weird comments like that. And so I got another weird comment of like nope or something like that, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, our mission really is to like keep you doing this until you're,
Oh yeah.
you know, 80, 90 years old. And I've had clients that are 80 years old preparing for elk hunts and in their late 70s, and like, there's no reason. I'm actually, I think it was 2 years ago, there was an archer who was like was he over 100 years old and competing?
Holy cow.
So it can happen. Is it reality that, yeah, we're all going to die? Yes. But like, the goal is to maintain that highest level of function in the outdoors, hunting, doing what you love, whether it be hunting or not, spending time with the family, hiking, camping, fishing. In this sense, what we love to do is work with
Hmm.
hunters.
Mhm.
But doing that for as long as you can. And it's very, really, it's really possible if you just invest in your health and invest in yourself and invest in, that little bit of health every single year.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, Jared's dad's a good example at 66,
Yeah.
67. I mean, dude was grinding on the last hunt we were on. And he,
Slow
he
down.
ran up the front with you and you shot your spike.
He did,
Like,
yeah.
and
Helped me
that's no
pack out
easy
my
task.
Yeah, he got a taste of that oak brush. He did not like that.
Stuff is
Oh,
nasty.
dude, it's his
Hey, you
poor
guys have both
clothes.
you guys have both killed elk or bulls on the front. Congrats. That's
I
cool.
can say yes now.
Yeah. Yeah. I got lucky. I
His is
got
a lot
lucky.
bigger.
I just try. I killed one on the rifle hunt, but nothing with a bow there. But
We've been close. You've been close.
been
There's been
close. It's kind of it's a weird year.
that
Oh,
that
dude, no
hunt sucks.
snow. Yeah.
It's a hard one. That scrub oak is, it's almost to a point. Like, I love bow hunting. I love elk hunting. This is a front deer actually. Um, and it's so fun, but those elk get in that scrub oak, and it's just nasty that, like, the last few weeks I'm like, nah, I could go
Mhm.
chase elk, or I could go chase some chuckers or some ducks or something. And like, I kind of want to go chase
Right.
chuckers and ducks because I know where those elk are, and people are texting me.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, have you seen the elk?" I'm like, "Yep, they're right there in that scrub oak. I can guarantee it." Like,
Yeah.
good luck, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it can happen.
People
Yeah.
don't understand how difficult that hunt is. I've like on multiple occasions I've been single digit yards from bull elk, and you can't just wave because you ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, oh yeah, I got close today. Hey, not really. Like,
Yeah, exactly,
you can't shoot them unless you can shoot a really
exactly.
long ways.
Yeah. No, I mean, the last time I was there, I was 35 from what, 4 bowls. And yeah, I just looked at them. Said, cool. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a fun hunt. It's a fun time to hunt, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It is.
But
Um,
this, sorry, Brax.
no, you're good. Hit it.
So this, full transparency, this is our first episode with this kind of format, I would
Mhm.
say,
Yeah.
where like, yeah, I mean, obviously we can talk about hunting all day long, right? But we want to get to know Preston. We want to we want to talk about mental health. We want to talk about God. We want to talk about just life, all that kind of stuff. Um, So with that being said, just kind of starting from the beginning, what got you into being a physical therapist? Like what's your road to get there?
Yeah, it's a great question. So my sister, she was disabled, and God, she passed away. It was 20 years ago this year. So in September. So she passed away 20 years ago. I know that because that was the year that I shot my big bull elk and I had it tagged that way. So, anyways, 20 years ago, she passed away. She lived till she was 14. And during her life, she had some physical therapy. I always thought it was really neat. But I think like she really is probably one of those, if anyone has had or interacted with children with disabilities or had a sibling or had, just kind of interacted with them, they're very special spirits. I truly believe that, if we talk about religion, we talk about God and everything, like they are really special angels, sent from heaven, and they really are special people. So watching her being taken care of, and then I went and I served an LDS mission, so I served in Texas, and on that mission, loved the people in Texas. It was fun because we'd go and we'd talk to people, and they're like, "Hey, we don't want anything to, hear about God or Jesus or anything like that. But why don't you guys come and have barbecue with us and eat with us?" And I'm like, "Hey, I'm all good for that. Like,
Yeah.
we don't need to talk. We don't need to talk religion." I feel like I'm a pretty easy person to talk to, as far as like I'll respect you and you respect me and everything. And I think that's kind of
Mhm.
how we should be. So I love talking to people about their different beliefs. Actually, when I went with up to Dan Staten's place. We did some shooting and actually spent the night there at his place, and super awesome. He and his wife and everything and kids. And we talked about religion, and they had some really like deep questions. They were asking me all these things, and it was just a really fun thing. And I'm like,
Mhm.
we can see differently, but at the end of the day, I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe in being a Christian and reading the scriptures. I love seeing your stuff, Jared, where you're out there reading the scriptures. But anyways, long story short, that's really what got me into when I was on my mission, helping other people and serving other people. And I'm like, it's really fun to do that. Went back to school, came home from my mission, went back to school. Kind of just was like, God, my neighbor, he's a physical therapist. He's always helping people and playing at soccer with his kids and has a good career, a good life. And then reflecting back on my sister, I'm like, it'd be really fun to help individuals with, special needs, or help individuals anyways, just kind of heal and live a better life. And so that's really what got me into physical therapy, and went and did that whole route. And then that's how it actually got me into um, the Mtn Physio bow hunting side of things, as I was at an archery shop and people complaining of shoulder pain. And I said, "Hey, there needs to be someone doing that. That's going to be me." And I started my practice. So really, I think back to that, and I guess I don't necessarily believe in like just happenstance. Like I think everything happens for a reason. And what I think, what I feel more of is that God's really directing each one of our lives, or Christ directing our lives. And I really think that he put me at that bow shop there for a reason, my sister in my life for a reason, me drawing that elk tag for a reason. I look back and like that one moment has, has really changed my life. So
Mhm.
Yeah. That's yeah, that's powerful. Um Maybe touch on like how obviously becoming a physical therapist probably is not super easy. Schooling, not for me. I'm very bad at that. And going through the schooling times, but then also creating your own business in Mtn Physio, like there's probably days it's like, am I on the right path? Is this what I should be doing? I want to be able to put food on the table. I don't know if I can pay the bills or whatever. Like that might be like what in those kind of like difficult times, what brought peace and what helped you with your faith, and like what made you trust God's plan that this is kind of the route that you should go in those times that you were questioning.
yeah, there's so much that we could talk there, because I love school. I really do. I still love school. I love learning. That's what I think I love about the physical therapy degree,
Mm-hmm.
is for instance, someone, talking to me today booked a consult basically and said, "Hey, I'm having this ACL procedure. What do you think? My goal is to get to be elk hunting in Montana this year. What do you think of this procedure?" And so there's a lot of like learning still of like, I've never heard of that procedure. Let me dive into some of the research so that you can have the best outcomes. And so I love that aspect of what I do for a living, is helping people really problem solve. Like, I don't think you should go get surgery, or at this point, like the research is not in your favor, or all sorts of things. Like I love helping patients that way, and very active individuals within the hunting space or outdoor space who just love to be active. But so I loved school, and I did that. It was very hard. School actually never really came easy for me. Like, there's always those people that school just comes easy for them. And
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
I'm watching my daughter right now go through school, and I'm like, sorry, sweetie, you probably got like my genes, because it doesn't come as easy for her too. And she's actually super talented and super smart. And like, I'm looking at her do all this math right now, and I'm like, dang, you're way smarter than me. So it was really hard for me. Like, um, but I'm like, I'm so sorry that you got those genes. But anyways, I loved school and I loved learning. And so it was a really fun, yeah, passion to get into physical therapy. Starting the business, I'll say one of the most challenging things, a couple years ago, I left a really good a good position, and I say that, a very high paying job, more money than I thought I was. Seems like in life you're like, once I hit this figure, I'll have it made and I'll never need any more money in life. Well, surpassed that figure by a long shot, and I'm like, oh, I've got the best career. I was so miserable and unhappy in that position because of the stress, because of some of the people I was working with, because of all this, this ultimately what I wasn't doing is I was preaching exercise, but I wasn't exercising. And there's this really like big burden on me, and it got me into a very low space, something that I've never really struggled with, which is, you got to be careful calling it depression, because that's like a clinical diagnosis, but like feeling low, feeling, down on myself, feeling depressed. Um, and I eventually just like, it's not worth it. I'm leaving this position, and now I'm, going out on my own and doing that thing. And that was a really big jump. And I think for me, that was one of those. And even I have to catch myself now, because like the last few weeks, I'm like, oh, what is going on? What am I struggling with? Like, should I go back and do something else? Should I go back to a different position? And I just have this like overwhelming feeling like you're on the right path. It's not easy. You're on the right path, though. This is what you are supposed to be doing. Just continue. And I really kind of feel that, for lack of better words, like the love of my, my Savior, who's guiding me. But sometimes I'm just on my knees praying, like, why does this have to be so hard? Like, this is why does it have to be so hard at times? Like, can't you just, help me get some of these contracts, or help people realize that they need to invest in their health, or help me build the right program, and ultimately help me market it, help me advertise, all those sorts of things. And it's just so stressful. It is so stressful, so much work. And now that we're actually like, we're really growing, this last year was the best year that we've ever done, which was really exciting to step away from a practice and then jump into it on my own, and now even, scale even more. And I think this next year will be even better. It's just really hard and stressful at times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
I don't know if that answers a lot of your questions.
No, it
but
definitely does. There was I sent this story to Jared. It was the owner of Burley Bow. He shared a scripture. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord." So I think that's like a big, I mean, that goes right into exactly what you're saying. It's like you're working for him, with him. He's helping you, even though it is hard. you have to put in that hard work, but like you're together on the path. He's, holding your hand, helping, but you're still having to do the work. You're not giving it just like, oh yeah, here you go. Here's exactly what you should do. No ifs, ands, or buts, no work, just here you go. It's that hard work that you got to put in, that he loves you so much, he wants you to work for it. And I think doing that with him is so much more rewarding, and seeing, the progress as you do overcome those obstacles and stuff. And so, I mean, that leads right into that.
That kind of got me thinking just barely. I saw this thing on Instagram again today, as far as, and Instagram can be a weird thing because social media can be tough. Social media can be really hard to see the success, see what everyone else is. No one's going to post their, no one's going to post their tag soup, right? Everyone's going to post their trophy pictures.
Yeah.
I right here have tag soup. I did not shoot a deer this year, and I did not shoot an elk this year. I did get a sage grouse. You have to draw a sage grouse tag in Utah, and I did shoot 2 sage grouse. So I'm not completely, it's only going to feed me for about one day. But I bring that up because, yeah, social media can be weird. But if you think of, I want to say it was Christ that asked Peter to step out of the boat, to walk on water. Wasn't it Peter?
I think so.
And he had to go, one of the apostles, whatever it was, he started sinking once he started doubting. And if you go all in on something and you have that feeling, you have that impression. And for me, and maybe I'm getting reprimanded by the Spirit right now, because I felt like very guided and directed into building Mtn Physio, very guided and directed into leaving my previous employment, building Mtn Physio, going out on my own. And if you have that faith, then that's where you're walking with Christ. But if you start doubting, that's where you start sinking, and those feelings of depression and those feelings of like inadequacy and anxiety and stress come in. So maybe that's just an answer to my thoughts and prayers right there. Is like, I need to trust more and have and have more faith, because faith really is I guess we're getting deep. Faith means a lot to me in my life, of really trusting in God and trusting in the Lord, because we've seen so many miracles because I've had that faith in him. Enough miracles of like, that's really why I believe that we have our daughter today is strictly because of faith, because we had very difficult pregnancies and everything else like that, very stressful, very hard. That's always been a very hard thing for my wife and I. And like, having that faith in Christ and God is the reason why I think we have what we have today. So
yeah.
And I think a lot of people kind of forget that we can't control God's plan, right?
Yeah.
His plan is his plan, and you can either be resistant to it, or you can have the faith and you can trust that he has this plan for you, and he's building up his warriors for whatever he needs us for.
Yeah.
And that's why he has these hard times on us, I think. And it's really hard to remember that.
Yes. I think you're absolutely right. It's I received some, blessings in my life, and one of them in particular, like I recall, as far as some blessings, it's in the sense, it says basically, trust in me and all will be okay. And it's actually I've never been led astray with that.
Yeah.
What's hard at times is in the difficult moments, in those low moments, in the feeling of inadequacy, and the like, running a business of like, why isn't it going better? Why isn't it, what do I need to do? Being rejected, all sorts of stuff. It's like realizing that, yeah, God's still there for me, and he may not take away some of those struggles, but if I can have that faith and trust, like, I'll never want, or I'll never have those like needs, I guess, or I'll always have those needs, I guess is what I should say, is like I'll never be in that position. And that's a really powerful blessing that I've received.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that kind of something with like moving out here to Tennessee. It actually
Yeah.
dates back to like when I was leaving on my mission. I landed in Atlanta, Georgia, flying over to Mexico, and I was 18, landed by myself, no phone, no nothing, right? And like I had this overwhelming feeling of like, you're gonna live right here somewhere one day. Like you're gonna call this place home. And I mean, Atlanta's 4 hours south from me. And I remember thinking like, why? Like that is so weird. And it stayed in my head forever. And years later, I get married, and my whole family lives in Utah. My wife's whole family lives Idaho, Utah, and all of a sudden my wife's family starts moving. They're in Tennessee, Alabama. My family starts moving South Carolina. And it was like I had this feeling. I was like, Tennessee is kind of in my head, but like, why? Right. And we obviously moved, and I live here, but it was like in Utah, probably 2 years before we moved, we were going to move. Like we were looking at it and like, oh, let's go to Tennessee. This, would be fun. And I could not, like, there was so much resistance. I was like, I can't do it. Like, there's no way. I can't leave these Utah mountains and hunting and all this stuff. And like, it kept coming back to me, like, God has a plan, and you don't know what it is. And it would take me back to when I was 18, landing in Atlanta. It's like, something is there. I don't know what. And the only way to figure it out is do it. And, obviously moved, and kind of in that process, like, okay, I'll get a job, because in Utah I was working for myself doing stuff. I'm like, I'll get a job, land on my feet, see how it goes. When we moved, we didn't have a place to live. We didn't have a plan. And I did have a job, right? As soon as we got there, about 3 weeks in, I found a house to rent. We were just staying in my wife's sister's house, and got this job. I was working. It turned out to be okay. And then it turned to be the worst possible thing for me mentally. I mean, it was terrible. And it took me to the lowest place in my life. Like I've talked about it a lot on the podcast and on Instagram. Like I was clinically depressed. I talked to a psychologist and stuff, and he called it situational depression, to where, a huge upturn happened. I left everything I ever knew, moved to BFE, Tennessee, and it was working for not the best humans. And I just kept having this thing, like, there's a plan, there's a reason why. Like, there is, no matter how hard this is, there's something, God has something for me out of this, and I don't know what yet, right? And I actually built a relationship with a dude. His name's Brendan. There at that place, he was a contractor that would come in and out, and he lives in Cookeville. And built this relationship with him. We, just talked hunting and stuff. And then finally in January this last year, I was actually in Arizona. Basically, I got fired when we were hunting, and
I remember that.
It was so good. That was like the biggest pressure taken off my shoulders. I mean, it was.
You're like,
I mean, there's a lot of stress because now I don't have a job, but I felt a weight lifted, right? And I'm like, there's a plan. What that is, I still don't know. And now I live in Cookeville. I work with Brendan every day, and we're building this stuff. And he is like a super good friend. I mean,
that's awesome.
And looking back and recognizing I had to go through all this torture in my head and depression, all this low stuff. I learned a lot about myself. I took a step back, found priorities again, and then trusted the Lord that he had a plan. And now we're super happy. Cookeville's awesome. Really good people, really good friends. And like, he does have a plan, and we've got to work through those hard times. And, I never prayed so much in my life, just like, please get me out of this. And Jared would bring it up like, dude, are you okay? Like you're kind of down. Like, I just want to check in. And having that friendship and stuff was, I mean, super, super beneficial. And I mean, that was rough, but now we're where we're at, and like we're
Nice.
beginning to figure out what that plan could be, for, I mean, even just starting moving out here. And
Nice.
so, yeah, that's bringing your stuff up does kind of just remind me of kind of my situation that happened. But
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
think that is awesome. I think it's hard to follow that, like, because God's timing seems like I'm like, all right, I'm ready for the next phase. Let's get into this.
We
And
want
God's
everything
like,
right now.
we're gonna kind of drag this out for a while to teach you a lot more. And I'm like, come on, why? But at the end of the day, having that trust in the Lord and faith and everything. And I think that's what's really fun working with um a lot of the outdoorsmen and hunters that we work with is a lot of them I think a lot of us have that same faith and beliefs of like it's very, very um gospel oriented going up to the mountains, the mountain of the Lord. Mountain Physio is also part of um I think of like one of the reasons why we named it Mountain Physio was because of life's mountains that you have to, overcome and everything. And so
mhm,
um it's very nice to go to the mountains and feel that peace and everything and watch a sunset. And I think a lot of us have those beliefs, but it's like sometimes the timing, we just can't see it. But I was going to say, um, it's interesting how many people I never thought I would be one again to have some of those low feelings of like, again, feeling anxiety, stress, kind of like that feeling of depression, not wanting to do anything. And Jared and I have had this conversations briefly, like sometimes you just have that feeling like you don't want to do anything. And I'm like, that's never been me. And all of a
mhm,
sudden it hits you, and it typically hits me because I'm so overwhelmed and burdened, I guess I'd say, that it's like, well, and so setting those little tiny goals, and like I recently just bought a journal that it's like do one thing today, really one thing, and show a check mark by it mentally, psychologically. That is so powerful to say, I accomplished this one goal. I called this one
Hmm.
individual. I got this, one phone call. I did whatever it is, and you put a check mark and you say, okay, tomorrow I can do another one. Tomorrow I can do another one. But um, from the yeah, a business standpoint, like that is such a powerful tool to see daily progress. It's challenging to do, but
mhm.
it's very interesting to me to see how many people struggle with mental health issues like this. And I think we all need each other, and I think we all need. Um, I'm a huge believer in everyone should do. We all need to put God first, put our family first, but you also need to put yourself first. And there's like a very interesting balance there because I think you need to have God in your life and put him first. You obviously need to put your spouse or your family in there as well. But you also like if you don't put yourself first, and it's really hard to say that because I'm not trying to say like be selfish, but investing in your health, which I always still say, like exercising isn't being selfish. I think it's being maybe selfless because then you can have more energy. As a
Hmm.
father, we're all in the same boat with young kids. As a father, you have the energy, the ability to manage your stress, to be able to date and court your, spouse and things like that. Like putting in that little bit of exercise or work into exercise means so much. And there's times in my life that I look back and where I'm not feeling motivated to do anything. And I look back and it's like, it's because I haven't been exercising. And so
Hmm.
you put in the work and exercise, and I can guarantee you, you'll have that dopamine hit, you'll have those endorphins, and you will feel you'll feel more motivated. You people think that it's going to put them behind, and that's why I bring up like I left that position because I wasn't doing that and I was in a very dark spot. Then I changed that and started exercising, and that's why
Yeah.
this challenge has like been so good right now as we head into December. It gets dark early. That can affect people. Like exercise, it means so much, and people have got to do it because it really does affect people on a lot of accounts.
Yeah. I mean, Well, I think it was right before you and I met. One of the last times we met, or right after. I remember, I think, talking to you about a really low point I was in. Like, I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah.
And I think I talked to Brax about this too. I wanted to lay on the couch. I didn't even want to watch TV while I was laying on the couch. I didn't want to do anything. And like you just said, one thing that I wasn't doing for sure, because I didn't want to do it. And I know my Instagram portrays me as someone that's very consistent and like perfect, whatever. And that's not the case. I wasn't working out and exercising. And the funny thing is,
Sorry. Quick intermission for mic check.
it's a back. It's a back. We good. We good.
No, I'll try it again. I think maybe. Try that.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
We
we
good?
should be good.
We
Yeah,
good? Okay. My goodness. Where was I going with that?
yeah. Sorry.
You weren't
God was
you
saying,
weren't
dude, you were
you weren't
rambling.
you weren't exercising.
Yeah, so like I wasn't exercising or doing anything. I would all I'd want to do is just nap all day. Um, turns out hormones were a little out of whack then, but the biggest thing was is I wasn't working out, and I told myself that I have to at least work out twice a week is what I wanted to start out at. Just have to get in the gym 2 times a week, and we'll go from there. And I noticed myself like playing with the kids more, wrestling more, and like you said, people think that it's going to take all their time to get down in it 20 minutes, if that. You do 10, 20 minutes every single day, you're way better off than if you didn't do anything. And you're going
Yeah.
to feel better mentally. You are going to have more energy, which sounds odd to say because you're like burning more energy,
Spending, yeah.
right? But it works in a really wild way. And it's not just this, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. We're not just blowing smoke here because this is the industry we're in. It genuinely makes you a better father, makes you a better
Yeah.
spouse, makes you a better person. Um, One thing we all really try to prioritize in my house with my wife and I is if only one of us can make it in the gym, we'll take turns, or we'll gauge off who's mentally doing worse that day. You know what I mean? Because the fact of the matter is, with 3 kids, the twin boys are at home. I come down here, I can tolerate them walking under me while I'm squatting with a 250-pound bar on my back, stuff like that, a little bit. But it definitely takes from the workout quite a bit. So being able to get down here even for a few minutes and stuff like that, it definitely helps tremendously. And I'm doing far better than I was. Probably, I think it was about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird. It's such a yeah, when I talk to people again from a practitioner standpoint of like I like to think when I'm, not think, but when I'm talking to people and evaluating people, I'm really evaluating a lot more than just like from a PT standpoint, just mobility and strength. A lot of it's psychological, and we talk a lot about that of like, are people exercising? What are you doing? And it's really important for individuals from the psychological standpoint to exercise. And I can say like from experience, but also a lot of people you just need to exercise. What I was going to say as well is I think so many times, again, with social media, it's very interesting. People can come home from work and get on their phone and, just aimlessly scroll and go to work. And sometimes I get this a lot, or I hear this a lot of like, is this all that life is about, basically, right? Like, go to work, come home,
Mm-hmm.
go to work, come home, go to work, come home. And they get into this kind of deep and dark mental state, we'll call it, then they start scrolling on social media, and it's just basically this endless cycle. Like, break that cycle, get up, exercise. And I'm telling myself just as much as everyone else on here, like, but you got to go and exercise. You got to break that cycle. It doesn't need to be a lot, but you need to do that, because that's how you break the cycle and ultimately overcome a lot of those obstacles in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll find yourself, I don't want to use the word getting addicted to exercise, but you'll find yourself getting into a rhythm and forming a habit of taking care of yourself. And it's not going to feel like a burden going to the gym or taking care of yourself for 20, 30, I mean, ideally 45 minutes to an hour. It's not going to feel like a burden.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I think a lot of, I mean, for me, a big excuse at times is like, oh, I don't have the time. I got to be home with the family, or I can't make it to the actual gym. I don't have a basement gym. Bless you.
Wrong tube.
But like, taking that time to maybe do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and like, that's it. That takes 10 minutes in your living room. You don't need weights. You don't need anything. It's just a simple, but getting that blood flow, getting those endorphins out is, and can be super, super beneficial. And I think we can overcomplicate it a lot with, if I'm not perfect going to the gym and doing a full 20 sets of something and blah, 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 then, I better not even go. It's like, no, your 100 push-ups is still way better than nothing.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And that's what I've really tried to get across with like our Mtn Physio 365, which is ultimately daily training for really just active individuals who want to be active. There is definitely, it's kind of geared somewhat towards hunters and outdoorsmen, but at the end of the day, it's like just sustainable workouts. And I'm really big on saying that like a sustainable workout is really important. It might really just be squats, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, or 50, whatever it is. But just a little bit can go a long way. And it just gives that, again, that dopamine hit of like creating a habit and checking off a box. And so definitely a huge believer, and try to push that within our business is like just exercise just a little bit, again, squats, sit-ups, push-ups, do it. I'm going to put a plug in right now for a lot of the workouts that we have on our app, as well as our December challenge. It's a very simple thing to do, and really you'll feel so much better doing it. I really wish I could get more people. I wish I could get more people doing it, because it really is a very powerful tool to do. And again, very simple exercises, fun, different exercises. So
Yeah.
I have an idea. Once we get off this, remind me to remind you.
Remind you to remind me. Okay.
Yeah. Remind me
Alrighty.
to remind you.
Okay, sounds good.
What I want to say.
Perfect.
Yeah. So would you say that exercise is probably one of your main outlets to help with your mental health? Or
I'd
what
say,
would you say?
Yeah, I told myself a couple things. I told myself about 2 months ago that I'd go to church every Sunday, read my scriptures, pray, and basically worship God every week. And that's been going well. And then exercise is that other piece I'd say that like I think prioritizing a few of those. And I love a functional workout. I love a functional exercise. Sometimes like I'm not gonna go, bench or anything like that. I'm gonna go out and go for a hike because I have the mountains that are 2 minutes away from me. Like, and so I like to do a lot of stuff like that. But I think ultimately that's where, again, from a functional aspect for hunters, that's really important, is to be able to do that and push yourself. Put on a backpack and go hike. Put on a backpack, go up and down your stairs. A functional aspect that way. strengthening is significant, is super important. And you have to actually lift weights, and you have to do that, and you have to work on your mobility throughout life. Um, and you actually, when I say that, you have to like hit a certain threshold of resistance so that you can see gains and everything. That's all very documented and scientific. Um, but if you don't do that every day, like go for a hike, put on a backpack, like that's a very functional workout. And so I like to do
Mm-hmm.
that because getting outside in the mountains makes me feel really good. But absolutely, exercise is a huge portion to manage
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you. It seems like, and I used to be way better at this, and I hate that I'm not as good. But if I can get my head in the Bible 3 times a week, my mental health is like a trillion times better, and it's incredible. Especially if you're just kind of hyper aware of the situation and kind of what you're going through and stuff. Being able to recognize how much better off I am when I am reading the Bible, it is it is so powerful. Like I can't even really describe it.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere, saw this quote recently that it was something to the fact of we communicate through God to God, excuse me, through prayer, and He communicates to us through the scriptures. And I don't know how many times, yeah, a lot, especially lately running a business, I'll be reading the scriptures and I'm like, literally, this is like business 101 right here. What the heck? Like, I've never read this in my entire life, even though I've read this verse 20 other times. I'm like, this pertains to me 100%. What's going on? And I think that, or no matter where you're at, yeah, picking up the scriptures, the word of the Lord is really important to immerse yourself and learn some of those parables. Right now is a great time. Obviously, we've got Christmas coming up. Like, there's some very, yeah, great parables and great things
Mm-hmm.
that we saw in Christ's life, and a great time to worship. But that's what I think I saw or read the other day, is that we communicate
Yeah,
to God through prayer. He communicates to us through the scriptures.
yeah. I haven't thought of it that way, and I really really like that because it seems like you can pray and pray and pray and pray, and I think that a lot of people get frustrated because they feel as though their prayers aren't being answered. But prayer without scripture, I think, is that missing link, like you just said. And this is just me realizing this. If you can't tell by my face, it's like, it's, I mean, they definitely they go hand in hand. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad you realized that, Sharon.
yeah. It's just
I'm not perfect, and again, probably calling myself. It's like anytime you teach a lesson, we teach a lot in our church and congregation, and if you teach, it seems like all the lessons that you teach or you give a talk on, they're really meant for you. And I think I'm saying a lot of these things because they're really meant for me. Like, I need to read my scriptures more. I need to do a lot
right.
of these things better.
Yeah, no, I feel that absolutely. It's crazy, crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I mean, really good advice, I think, to so many people. 100% of our audience is, I think, believes in God and Christ and how much of a benefit he can be in our life. And yeah, that connection between prayer and scripture, I never really thought about it that way. And every time you read the scriptures, it can be the same verse, like you said, but depending on what you're going through in life, it's a whole completely different answer every single time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how that. I seriously have read some scriptures lately, and I'm like, I have never heard that in my life. I'll even point, like, my wife and I will read scriptures at night and lean over to her and I'll be like, have you ever read this before? Because I know we have, but I have never heard this. But yeah,
Why is it
they
resonating so much?
yeah, why is it resonating?
Yeah, I feel like he's calling me on my BS right now.
Yeah, that's what I feel like it is I'm getting called out more than anything.
Right. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, we're about here at the hour. Well, a little over the hour mark. We'll kind of close out with kind of have a question here. Is basically, if someone is listening and they're beat down right now, physically, mentally, or spiritually, what would be something that you would want them to hear?
Wow.
That is a great question. And I think I want them to hear that they're never alone. Someone always there for them, whether it's through scriptures, reading scriptures, whether it's through prayer, whether it's a hike in the mountains. Like, I'm going to say, like, life's never that bad, even though you might feel like you're in the lowest state of your life or you're in the worst state or that you can't move forward. Like, there's someone there for you. And if it's not the scriptures, not God's, not the mountains, anyone else, then give me a call and I'll talk to you, because I want to make sure that people mentally are healthy. There's a lot of, sad things that happen from suicide, all sorts of things like that, because of people get into those low states. And I want to make sure that no one ever gets that. And so if that is you, and if you are feeling that way, I'm serious, give me a call and I'll happy to talk to you about whatever. I'm happy to meet people. I want people healthy, physically, want people healthy, mentally, spiritually. And that's my mission, is to elevate people's health and to keep people doing what they love, throughout life. And so, um, anyways, yeah, that's what I'd say.
That's a good answer. That's
Yeah, I
really
think that
good.
goes for all of us. Reach out
Absolutely.
if you need. I know we've said it multiple times, but don't hesitate to reach out. Having someone to talk to, I think, not specifically saved my life, but probably saved my life a few times. So, like,
Yeah.
reach out.
Yeah. For sure.
Yep.
Well, we'll close out with where can people find you on socials, website, app? Where can they, get some more information? Mountain Physio, and if somebody's,
Yeah.
needing a consultation, where are they going to get that at?
Yeah. So everything can be found at mountainphysio.com, mtnphysio.com. So mountainphysio.com. All my social media. We're actually, this week, I think, should be launching our new website platform, everything else like that. So that should be really cool. It's been the same for about 6 or 7 years with a little bit of moderation or tweaks here and there. So I'm really excited for this new platform, mountainphysio.com, Instagram. I've got YouTube. I do have a podcast that I got to upload some awesome podcasts on health and everything. Yeah, everything mountainphysio.com, and reach out if they want a consultation. We do free discovery calls to, again, kind of assess and see where people are at, whether it's increasing their draw strength, working on their draw form, whatever it is, working on getting ready for a hunt, just being healthy and active, addressing knee issues, shoulder, whatever it is. They can book consults that way, and we like to see if it's a right fit, and then ultimately can work with our team and everything like that. And so I'm excited with the new concepts, the new programs that we have. But yeah, reach out if we can help.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time, Preston. Always a blast having a quick conversation with you. We need to do it more often, just phone calls. And appreciate everybody jumping on, listening to the podcast. Hopefully you got a little nugget out of this one. And again, all three of us, reach out if you ever need anything, for real. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.